Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Hot Pink Sunday. Yes, it's Sunday, so I'm going to be wearing hot pink. And look at Georgio's t-shirt, everyone. I love the merch. Are you selling them, Georgio? Can you tell everyone where they can get merch?
This one, I believe, yes, it's on my website. It's on georgiotakanakis.com, and there's a tab for merch because I also have some for Scandoval as well.
I'm sure those are going to sell out, or unless everyone's got Scandoval fatigue like myself.
There's a lot of Scandoval fatigue for sure.
Raquel and Scandoval fatigue, but Ariana is back, but we'll talk about it in a minute. I want to say we have a very special guest today, a nice little surprise. I'm really appreciative. We're both, Georgia and I are very appreciative of the fact that she, she wanted to join this live. If you don't know her already, her name is Kiki Monique. She's also known as the Talk of Shame. She is quite big on TikTok, but she's got a YouTube channel, podcast, all of it. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, you've seen her around because you love Bravo as much as she does, as much as we do. And I just love her take on everything. And I'll bring her up in a minute because we have so much to talk about. But before we start, let's say hello to the chat and the Femmies in the house today. Hello, Issa.
Hello.
Yes, thank you very much. Before we start, a good reminder to please like this video and subscribe if you're new here. And if you're new here, hello, welcome. You can also check out Georgio's channel. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and just subscribe because, Georgio, he always brings it. And also, if you want to book a private reading with me, you can head on over to my website and you can fill out the form and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Right. So let's see who's in the chat. Danny's in the house. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, guys.
Hello, everyone. Gabby's, of course, here. And thank you. So iconic. How are you, my love?
Hello.
Amber, you made it. I'm so glad. Hey, Amber. And Denise, of course.
Denise, hello, my darling.
And, of course, Storm, because this is right up Storm's, alley, because we will be talking about Roach. And this is going to be an interesting topic because that really hit the fashion world, right, Storm? Well, you'll tell us in a minute when we start talking about it. So we've got a lot to talk about today, you guys, as we said. And without any further ado, I'm just going to bring up Kiki. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hey, and welcome. And thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
This is incredible. So I want to say that I did have a listen to your chat with Ryan Bailey on his podcast. That was so interesting. And I loved your take. Like, I loved both of your takes on everything that's been going on. And I know that you've been going through Scandoval fatigue as well. We can't avoid it, guys. There's always something. There's always something, right?
Yeah, and there's so many more episodes to go. So, I mean, we have like a couple more months of this.
Really? When is the reunion after all? Have they announced
They're
anything?
recording it March 23rd, unless they decide to move it because of the restraining order hearing, which is on the 29th. But it sounds like they're going forward with it, recording on the 23rd. But we still have like episodes, airing all the way through April into May. So, yeah.
Wow. So there's more. There's more of that. So let's start a little bit. Since we started on the topic of Scandoval, we're not going to talk too much about it, you guys, because we respect your fatigue as well. And as Kiki said, there's more. So let's just keep some energy, for the future. So what's your take on this? I mean, I would love to hear what your take. I'm sure you were just as shocked as everyone else when the news broke. But I want to ask you, first of all, how do you see, well, let me rephrase that. How do you think Ariana is handling it? Because I think she's doing a great job.
Well, I saw her for the first time last night. She did like her first public appearance last night. She did it was like an improv show in LA. And so I was like, oh, gotta see, this will be the first time she's out. She didn't say anything, but she looked amazing. You know, she has the new haircut, super blonde, super cute outfit. And I think she's just like, at this point, like, I'm going to show you what you're missing in that, you know, she's in that stage, you know? I'm sure she's still in shock. And I think that's like part of it, because they're also still filming. Like, they've picked up cameras again to capture this, because it's like, you can't, you know, not include this in the season. And so I'm sure she is sort of going through all of those. She's probably learning information every day. I mean, hopefully there's not much more information to learn, because how much more can you take, really? And I'm sure she's just processing the fact, I mean, they own a house. They're going to have to sell this house, and who knows what equity is tied up in the restaurant, and all of these things that she's going to have to deal with, while she also doesn't want to have to deal with this person who apparently doesn't even want to leave the house. So
yeah, I heard that.
We did a reading on them when it first broke out, and I did see Ariana moving out and Raquel moving in.
What? Oh,
yes.
God.
Could you imagine?
We were all like there was dead silence for a few seconds when I said that. Like, I could see the chat just froze. We were all like, what?
Oh my God. That makes me, oh God, I can't even imagine.
And guess what else I saw, Kiki?
What?
Well, you know how it's been going around, especially on TikTok, that, oh yes, Raquel is now going to get pregnant because she's going to try to hook him up. You know, I did see a pregnancy within the next 2 years. I did.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, because I mean, at this point, if you do want to salvage anything, getting married or having a baby is really the only way at this point, you know, other than, I mean, she could go the other path and do OnlyFans. I mean, I feel like there's two paths you could take. And,
I really don't know how she's gonna. I mean, she's kind of done on the show, right? I mean, who's gonna film with her next season?
This is the most famous she's ever going to be in life. If she does not sign up for season 11, who cares if they don't have to, they're not going to film. Definitely nobody's going to film with them, but she would be a fool not to sign up, because again, this is like, she's peaking right now. Just run with it, get your fat check, and then move on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good trajectory for her, from being a fan, then getting on the show, now being the main villain. Like,
who would have thought?
Know.
I would have never. Did you predict that? Because I never would have seen that coming.
Like, you know, but now I'm like, whoa, what was really going on?
Yeah.
But you know what surprised me when I saw that post by Ariana and the text? Instantly, psychically, intuitively, I picked up a little bit of that energy, and I'm going to come out and say it. I kind of feel that the news of the Scandoval Raquel situation or affair, I don't think came as a shock to her. Honestly, this is what I feel. Because she bounced back quite fast, which is good. But if you don't suspect your man, you know, it's going to take you a long time to get over that, because you have to go through all of these feelings, like, why me? Anger, hatred, you know, resentment. That was too fast. And also, intuitively, I felt maybe she had her suspicions, which is why she probably checked his phone.
That's the thing, because I actually looked at a post that Ryan Bailey just made this morning, because he had been sent a bunch of pictures of Raquel with Joe, and Joe is the person who Schwartz was supposedly hooking up with, who is an ex-friend of Kristen and Katie's. And so, you know, Ryan reminded us how there was this blind item that didn't get published, but it was literally like 5 days before TMZ broke the story. Yep. And so, look, I know sort of how this works. And so if there was already a blind item that was being withheld, somebody probably did tell Ariana that this was about to come out. Like, hey, you know, Dumois about to post this. And so, of course, if you already maybe have an inclination and then you're like, well, this phone is in my hand and somebody has sent this blind item,
Right.
I probably just maybe need to look in this phone.
I believe they said that someone had pointed her towards a Reddit thread as well that had something to do with the lightning bolt necklace. And so she had picked up on that. And that also is what prompted her when she had his phone to be like, this is my chance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes
I think
sense.
Kristen was on, I forget which podcast Kristen's been everywhere. I mean, God bless
Oh,
her.
well, yeah.
She's been speaking for Ariana because she's
Second
like,
life.
yeah. I love it. I think it's great, but
I think it's great. I love that she's filming again. You know what? Listen, let's not be too hard on Kristen or Stassi. They made mistakes. We all I feel that they've learned from it. Stassi's pregnant again. She's grown from that. I'm all for giving people second chances, especially if they've learned from their mistake and they've done the work to get where they are. So, but Kristen, messy Kristen, I love it. So that's going to be an interesting, I don't know, show.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we've heard a lot what happened, and she's revealed a lot what they filmed her and Ariana in that scene together. But it will still be, interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to see the scene that Ariana and Tom filmed together. It's going to be interesting to see the scene that Raquel and Tom filmed. I mean, all of this new stuff is going to be. Whoa, I think we're going to have a whole other wave. That's why it is a marathon. We have to take our time. We can't talk about it or we will just like lose our minds.
Yeah, we just closed episode 6. So, I mean, we have a ways to go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're on 6? Just 6? I thought it was like 10 or 12. Like it seems like a marathon. But it's interesting. I mean, this was the revival that Vanderpump needed. This is what they needed to bring the show back, back on the map, back on the Bravo map.
Absolutely.
So good for them. Good for them. And yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. Quick question. Sarah Bay, that's Gabrielle. She's asking, did Demois contact Ariana or not when they knew about that?
I don't have confirmation, but I can say that people close to her were aware of it, and so it would not surprise me.
Yeah, I'm sure. I agree. Right, so I think that's it with Scandoval, guys, for now. So follow Kiki, follow Georgio. You're following me already, I hope. So we'll be talking about it. There's a plethora of content creators talking about this, so there's enough content for the rest of the year, I guess. But let's move on now. But before we move on I wanted to ask you, you're watching Miami, right?
I actually am not. I didn't watch this. I know I didn't watch the season, and it was crazy because I felt like I was, because it was talked about so much online. And I don't know why. I just I loved the last season and I just never started this one.
Kiki, you missed out the best Housewives franchise of the year.
Oh.
I know. I'm going to have to go back and just start from the beginning. I don't know why. I think I got caught up in just so many other shows and I don't know why.
I know. And I don't know how you all do it, because you watch a lot of shows and you don't just watch it once, right? You have to watch it twice because you take notes and you have to notice things and you have to remember things. So I don't know how you guys do it, but I understand. Do you watch Summer House?
Love Summer House. Absolutely.
But it's a disaster this season.
It is not going great. It's not going well. I mean, I'm going to stick in there because I have faith, but it is. Do
you agree with the consensus that Lindsay and Carl should be out and the cast needs to be reshuffled?
I don't know if it's that they need to be out, because even though all of their scenes are cringeworthy, I find myself, I'm like, well, those are the scenes I'm actually talking about the most. So maybe, maybe they need to stay, because I'm just like, ew.
I know.
But I don't know. I don't know exactly what's missing. I don't agree with people who I like that. I would never thought I would say this, because Kyle before I was just like, but I just having Kyle in his 40s, but still just like knowing how to like party but live his best life. And I liked that. I know people are like, you're too old, like leave it for the young kids. And I'm like, no, I like that he can still be like, I know how to have fun and I know how to like run a business. And so I like that element. I like his friendship with Maya. I do like that. I just like, I don't know what exactly is missing. I can't figure it out. I mean, maybe it doesn't feel like they're drinking enough. If that's, I don't know what
they go to bed at midnight. That's not the point of them going on a summer house on the weekend.
Yeah.
And go lie down. Yeah. I read somewhere that Kyle said, not Kyle, was it Danielle? Someone said, we ran out of ideas of themed parties. We've done everything. What else is there to do? You know, and I get that.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe they don't need to do theme parties. I mean, like I think they're gonna have to go through their weird growing pains, like Vanderpump did. It's like, okay, how do we evolve our show as we have grown, but still capture the essence of what it's meant to be?
That's
That's always the challenge with those types of shows. Eventually, like you have to turn the corner, and it's like if you do it the wrong way, then the audience is like, "Oh yeah, I'm not watching this."
Exactly.
And also, you've got all these you've also got like the women are outnumbering the men in Summer House. How's that going to work? Because it was what I loved about Summer House was it did give me that real world sort of, especially the beginning, right? The first few seasons. And I miss the real world because that's the MVP of reality TV by far. So, but now it's losing. My favorite season was the one during the pandemic where they were locked in a house for 2 or 3 weeks. I love that. But because you see how the dynamics and the energies and the interactions between them changed because they were constantly together 24 hours a day. And I love that you saw that, they would work, that they would have their Zoom calls, and they would do this, and then they would party, and then they would play out in the snow and whatever. And I think it's missing that element. It's missing more of that organic element, in my opinion.
I can see that too. I mean, yeah. And especially now because, in the beginning, people did have to go back to the city and go back to offices. We know that that's not a reality anymore. We know that everybody's working remote. So you can just actually stay there for the entire summer and we can just follow you throughout the week there. Why not?
I agree. Issa's asking, when will the next Ultimate Girls Trip air? That's a good question.
I feel like they're releasing the first 3 episodes, or at least the first episode, but it might be the first 3 episodes this Thursday. So
the same day that Vanderpump films the reunion, I think, right?
Yeah, so that'll be fun to watch because we've been talking about Ultimate Girls Trip 4 so much, we almost forgot that there's a whole season with Leah and Candace and Portia. And I will say, I talked to someone who got to see an advanced screening of the first 3 episodes, and they say it's really good. Portia is really great to have back, and it's so fun to see her on again. That her and Candace is asking all the questions that we have been wanting to ask Portia, and apparently it's really good.
Oh, I can't wait. No, I knew it would be good. I knew because it was time for Portia to come grace our screens again.
Yeah.
I absolutely can't wait. You said on Thursday they are filming the reunion, and then we've got the Ultimate Girls Trip out. That's the day where Pluto moves to Aquarius. I want to talk a little bit about astrology. What's your sign, Kiki? I forgot to ask you.
So I'm a Sagittarius. I know that that's my sun sign. My moon sign is Libra, and my rising sign is Pisces.
Whoa, interesting. So you're a very good communicator. You're very good at communicating your feelings, but sometimes you have a hard time balancing your emotions, rational thinking with emotion. It all becomes one sometimes, and you have a hard time sort of saying, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go here? With that Libra and the Pisces as well, it's confusing. Sometimes you live in your own little bubble.
Okay.
And then you've got Sagittarius, very direct. You're the fire sign, very spontaneous, direct. You love traveling. You like to have the connection with abroad or with more exotic places. But you always what you see is what you get with you. Except for that Pisces stuff where you just keep those emotions deep down, or your personal stuff, you don't share easily. Your personal, you don't open up. And the other thing is that sometimes you can be with that, like, you can be hard on yourself, and you kind of like direct that energy towards you sometimes when you just feel overwhelmed or overstressed, or you're tired and exhausted. Instead of lashing out or sort of venting to other people, you'll just bring it in towards you. So that's interesting, but it makes sense seeing what you're doing, right? What you're doing, because you're on social media, you create content. So that really aligns with your signs, your big three. So that's
No,
interesting.
I totally, yeah. I mean, I can see that so much because, yeah, a large part of social media, as you know, it's like people want you to make them feel better. And like, while they want you to also share a lot of your life, they don't also want to hear all your boohoo's all the time. So you do have to, yeah, hold that in a lot. And so you get used to sort of compartmentalizing that. And so I do, sometimes it's like today, I'll admit, it turned into a bit of stress eating. And I was like, I'm gonna eat my emotions this morning.
Yep, that Pisces does that. That Pisces does that, where you go to these extremes, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna stress eat for 3 days till I can't eat anymore and I can't even look at food anymore, and then you just go back to normal, and then you just go on to something else. That's Pisces.
Okay.
And the Libra, of course, because Libra always Libra and stress. So with Libra moon, you stress, but you don't like to show people that you're stressed. So you just don't. You feel vulnerable at that point. So the Pisces then pushes you to go through these extremes, as you said, like stress eating, binge eating, or drinking a little bit too much wine sometimes, or just doing do you like to write? I just heard that you like to write.
I do like to write, yeah.
No, like fiction? Are you writing a book? Are you thinking about writing short stories, a book? This is what I'm getting.
I've thought about a book. No, yeah, like I've thought about a book. Mostly I've just written like, articles and stuff, mostly on the stuff I do on social, but I have been thinking about writing a book, I've been working on a script. Yeah.
Do it, because I saw 2 years. In 2 years, everything's coming out and it's going to be successful. Sorry, I'm reading you. I'm not going to bring anything personal. I'm just giving you some like
no, I love that.
Fun, if that's okay with you, of course.
Of course.
Everyone, I can't help it. But yeah, write that book, because I see it's going to be a great success. Also, if there's something financial that you're changing right now, if there's something about your home or changing home, or something where you want to tidy up a little bit of your finances and you're very unsure because of the economy and the banks collapsing right now, I've got to say, wait, okay? Sit and wait for that. I feel that you're pushing. Maybe you're just trying to make things happen, because obviously we're all kind of stressed with what's going on, and you're unsure. But I feel that if you wait and sit it out, it's going to be more beneficial to you. So I feel it has to do with a house or moving or changing. This is what I'm picking up. So advice to you from Spirit, not for me, is just wait it out. It's okay. You're good.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense, because my lease is up for renewal like May 1st. And there was like, and I was like, with everything going on, I feel very secure in this place. And as much as like, I'd love to be in another place closer to the beach, I'm like, with things changing so much, I just like want to feel in a place where I'm comfortable. My landlord loves me and there's not too much rocking the boat. Yeah.
I get it. So now you know, at least, you know, that's the Spirit. You got your sign, you got your validation. So it's good. And also something else, is your dad with us. This is the last thing I promise everyone. So sorry for that. I can't help it. I can't help it. If someone's energy is open, then Spirit will just tell me things and I have to just tell you, I can't keep. So is your dad with us, or is he on the other side?
My dad is alive. Yeah.
Your dad is alive. So because I see a man who appears like a father figure. It could be a granddad, okay, or it could be like an uncle that you consider like a dad that you were very close to. He's right behind you, and he's just. And I feel that this person's. I feel more like a granddad from your dad's side. Dad's dad. Did you meet him? I'm getting.
No, I never got to meet him.
So his birthday is around now. So around springtime, I'm getting. So he's behind you, just so you know.
Okay.
I feel that you went through something a couple of months ago. So you went through a little personal stuff going on, or more than 2 months, I'm getting. So he's around just to show you. He takes on the role of protector, and
Okay.
he's just around to guide you. You might feel sometimes the energy, but you can't, connect that that's maybe spirit or deceased loved one. I'm just telling you that he's there, just
Okay.
like a protector. So yeah, that's it. I'm done. Okay, no more reading. Sorry about that, Kiki.
That's okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, the chat loves it when I read people, so that's good. Yeah, I apologize because guys, maybe some people don't feel comfortable for me to read them live, right? Oh, because Kiki doesn't know me, so she doesn't know that I'm respectful, that I will never,
Yeah, you're not going to drop something uber personal in front of the
no,
the
her dirty
platform.
laundry is safe with me.
Sorry, Kiki, but
So yeah, I just want to make sure that you're comfortable because we don't know each other. Some people are totally comfortable doing that. So yeah, right. Shall we talk about Giorgio? You take over because you're in the know of what is going on right now in the fashion industry.
well, it really just started with Law Roach's post on Instagram. I think it kind of shook everyone. I mean, the comments were like, I was shocked. I was like, what is going on? Because it wasn't so much about the retirement, because I understand like sometimes people need a break, or, creatively, I understand a lot of times like fashion designers that are super uber creative, like sometimes they need their space, like they need to go, and so they'll retire for a second, but they won't make it such a public thing. They just kind of fall into the background. But this was like loud and very specific. Like whoever, and I'm assuming that the Louis Vuitton fashion show was the last straw, because I think this was probably not the first time he's been treated this way. And, he's put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the industry. And I think the lack of respect was shown in that video. To me, it was, because it should have been a front seat there. And it should. And I think that's where people like are confused. But I think there's obviously way more to this. But it was nice to see the big wigs in the fashion community in his comment section be like, no. Like almost like, no, put the phone down, call me. We're not going to quit just yet. He was having a moment, and it was a very to me, it felt like a very human experience. I related to that feeling, not so much exactly what he's going through, but everyone, I think, that's a creator goes through a period where something just doesn't click for a little bit too long, and then you're just like, you know what, you guys got me. And I think that's where he was at least when he posted that. But I think because the community came around him, hopefully. But it's sad. I mean, I think that the narrative in the business is not shocking. I mean, we've heard things like this before, what people have to deal with. And but yeah, I think that's the challenge that, he was probably running into time and time again. And it didn't matter who he styled. It was always seeming like he was just not getting the respect that he, because if it had been someone else, that wouldn't have ever happened. You know what I mean? That's generally the case.
Yeah, he did I don't know if you got a chance, like they just released it yesterday. It was like an hour-long interview he did with The Cut with New York Magazine. And so I finally got to listen to it, and it was so revealing. He was so really raw, and and he did clear up the Louis Vuitton thing, because I think that was also what I thought. That was like what a lot of people thought was, there's no seat for him front row. Zendaya points to this row second seat, and it felt very dismissive. And he said, no, what happened was we left for the show. The driver must have taken the wrong way. So now we're running late. And then to get to the show, it's like a very long walk through this plaza or something. So they are sweating, they're racing, and she doesn't like to be late for stuff. So they get there and they're getting to the seats, and there's no seat for him as it normally is by her. And he said when she pointed to the second seat, what she said was, well, that seat's for Daryl. Daryl is her assistant. She was like, well, that seat's for Daryl. So he's like, well, I'm not going to sit in Daryl's seat. And so it looked like he was saying, I'm not going to sit there. But what he was saying was like, I'm not going to take Daryl's seat. So he said, you know, he went to the after party, the Louis Vuitton after party. Everything was all good. He like doesn't have an issue. But he was very clear, though, in that interview, he has absolutely retired from celebrity styling. All of his clients are going to have to find a new stylist, but he's not going to completely abandon Zendaya. He said, like, I don't have to be her stylist. I can still be a part of her team. I can still be her creative director and manage a stylist. I haven't decided if that's what I want to do, because right now I'm just taking a breather because I was miserable. He was like, I was miserable. And there was so much revealing stuff I didn't know about him. Like, I didn't realize he had lost his nephew. He had a 3-year-old nephew that fell out of a window in Chicago, out of a high rise.
Wow.
And so, yeah, this was the day before Thanksgiving in 2021.
Wow.
And he was saying how, you know, that happened. And he had one client he was on retainer with, and, you know, their management team was like, oh, well, you know, you didn't really do much in December, so we're not paying you. And he was just kind of like, the fact that like there's no grace given, like I just lost, you know. And he's like, I just didn't have time to process a lot of things that were happening. I was getting more miserable. I just need time to breathe. And so, you know, he said that he has been signed on as a creative director for a brand, for a footwear brand. He didn't reveal who it was, but he is going to be doing that. And he's like, he has a book deal that he's got signed a year ago that he hasn't done anything with. He has deadlines coming up. So he's like, I'm not leaving fashion, but I am going to stop being a stylist because, you know, honestly, like it was just like I had to sort of just like make my way up my own way. And it's always been hard. And when I have these relationships with the clients, sometimes their teams just don't respect me the way that clients will. But he said Zendaya always protected him. You know, I think he was very like, he loved working with Anya. He did talk about the Priyanka comment though, because, you know, Priyanka just recently talked about.
That's what I was going to say. Did that come up?
It did, because, you know, she was like, you know, I've been told I wasn't a sample size. And he was like, you know, he's like, I love Priyanka. I think she is amazing. And it hurt to hear her say those things because I have never said those things. He said, I worked with Lizzo. I've worked with, you know, he's like, when I worked with Tiffany Haddish, she fluctuates and she was very aware. So she would buy her own clothes. Like, I've never shied away from working people who aren't sample size. That is like, you know, he said, what happens a lot of times, he's like, I'm not saying this is what happened in this scenario. He's like, but what happens a lot of times, again, is someone on her team feels that maybe she doesn't look right in clothes. So they try to have conversations with me like, ooh, you know, she's not sample size. And then when they go back to talk to her, they make it seem as if it came from me. He's like, I'm not saying that's what happened, but what I'm saying is that be happening.
They're the easiest ones to throw under the bus because then it would be more believable coming from them too. Because they're like, well,
yep.
Well, we've got Storm in the chat. He's a fashion designer. So Storm, if you want to pop in and give us your take, we would more than welcome that. I'll just drop the link. But I just really want to quickly say that while you were talking, I have a prediction because I just saw it. Don't be shocked or surprised if he gets his own Netflix show eventually, like a fashion show. He's going to go, I agree with you, Kiki and Georgio. I think he's going to go towards a very different direction, fashion related, but not in styling or in designing or, you know, having this connection or this exchange with clients. What per se, I do see him doing something much more broad, like more mainstream and more broad. He's incredible. He is a genius in what he does, in my opinion. And I'll just drop the link and I want to show everyone his chart really quickly because I do. Thank you, Gabby. She sent me his chat. So this is for Storm. If Storm wants to just join in the conversation, because Storm has worked with some of the housewives too. Like, he's dressed them and he's designed. So it would be interesting to hear what Storm has to say from the from inside. But I really quickly, until Storm decides what he wants to do, this is his chart. So he is a Cancer man, Georgio. I mean, we haven't think about it.
Well, I mean, my dad was a Cancer, so I mean, they all.
Moon in Aquarius, which coincide with this Pluto entering Aquarius, his moon. It's all Aquarius. We will be both Georgia and I are Aquarius, is Kiki. So it's
Okay.
going to affect a lot of Aquarians, and this is no shock that he's drawing a line now, because he's going to transform himself and reinvent himself. And it's happening just as Pluto is entering Aquarius, which is not a shock to me. And then really quick, I want to see his Pluto in Libra. You can see how, for those of you who know and understand astrology, you can see where this creativity and how like out there he is. He's such an innovator when it comes to design, my opinion. Let me just get rid of that. And then we have North Node in Virgo. He is a perfectionist. We can see that. Mars in Virgo, I feel that he's not easy to work with, because I do feel that he keeps himself to himself. It's not like he comes out and communicates like his ideas with his clients. He's like, trust me, trust the process. Everything will be all right on the night, as they say, like a thespian say. It will be all right on the night. That's law. That's exactly how I feel that he goes into a zone. And he doesn't want, because he doesn't want to have that chatter from clients like, I don't want a strapless, I don't want this. He's like, no, let me be, you know. And Zendaya is the only one I feel that she trusted him fully from day one, which is why this collab is so fabulous. So incredible.
Yeah, he talked about their relationship, and it was very sweet, because he said at the time he was so green, nobody wanted to loan him clothes, and she was a Disney girl, and at the time nobody thought that Disney people were serious actresses, so nobody wanted to dress her. So he said we pinky swore that we would have each other's back no matter what. And so that was just sort of like a really beautiful sentiment.
I love that. I feel that's such a thing about her character that speaks loudly, though, just across the board. I feel like with Zendaya, like I really respect that immensely about her. She's really good to people around her that she values.
I think so too. You can see, I mean, and I don't know, she seems down to earth to me. She seems that she's not that influenced and affected by Hollywood and everything else. And I have been saying this for a while. Hollywood is going down, guys. It's just a matter of fact. And now with Pluto in Aquarius, expect the unexpected. We're going to be shocked in the next months, especially June. Month of June, mark my words, you heard it here first. It's going to be very shocking when it comes to finding out things about celebrities, about producers, about reality TV stars. A lot of dirt is going to come out. The shadow is going to go in the light, and it's going like it's you know, it's a house of cards. It's all coming down. I've been saying this for a while now, but I've been feeling it a lot. And can I say something? He is a Cancer. Law is a Cancer. He's very intuitive looking at his chart. I'll just bring it up real quick for everyone to have a quick look. He's got Jupiter in Cancer. He's got Venus in Virgo, Mars in Virgo. Like, he's very intuitive, and I do feel that this is why he said, I'm out, you win. Like, you win as in the dark side of the industry, the dark side of the fashion industry and Hollywood and celebrities. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all unravels in the next few months. So brace yourselves, guys. It's not just the banks going down.
Oh God.
You know, there's going to be a restructuring. Nah, it's not doom and gloom or anything like that. It's just a restructuring and a transformation that our world needs right now. We all need it. Right. And even with the banks going down, it's going to reset your loans. So see the positive. If you've got loans and if you've got debt, it's going to reset itself. So at least something good is going to come out of it. There's always a positive to everything that we're going through. Remember that, you know, and keep your eye on the prize. What's the prize? Happiness and love and self-love and creating a better world for you. Be selfish. Think of it selfishly. I'm creating a better world for me. But start somewhere. So Storm is backstage. I'll just bring Storm because I want to hear what he's going to say. Hey, beautiful.
Hey, Storm.
Storm is backstage. I'll just bring Storm. Oh, I want to.
Hello. Let's see.
You've got to mute the YouTubes.
Let me see which window. Okay. Did it work?
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Had it pulled up on my phone and then pulled it up on the laptop, and then it's like, Google and Chrome. So
It always happens on the live. We always got dogs.
always it feels like. So I'm sorry about that. I have 2 little Pomeranians, and they are quite characters.
So, Storm, tell us a little bit. What do you know about Law? What do you think about his? What do you think about all this? Give
For
it
me,
to us.
the whole announcement is a big shock. Like, I was not expecting it. But at the same time, listening to the cut interview, just hearing everything that he had went through and all the different experiences. And I mean, he could have came out and said a lot of this a lot earlier, but I mean, I feel like he chose the classy route, didn't say anything, chose to rise above it, which in itself is so hard to do. So, I mean, I feel like it's like what you guys have been saying. He just eventually had enough. And I think the way he did it with the posts, it did get a lot of people talking. But at the same time, I feel like what other way could that have been done without it being more of a spectacle?
Mm-hmm.
100%. What do you think that his next moves are going to be? Do you see that happening too? Like for him getting his own show on a platform like Netflix, and taking it from there and maybe becoming like a thought leader in fashion industry, if there is such a thing for the fashion industry?
I mean, I definitely feel like with all the experiences that he's had, he could have a show and it would be super successful, especially if it was like the breaking the fourth wall type of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
so many people would tune in because like Fem, we've talked about it in our private reading. Like the industry is so hard and it's just so you may send people dresses in hopes they're going to wear something and then they don't, or something falls through. I mean, it happens time after time after time. So I feel like if he were to do a show and give insight like that, I think it would be super successful. And I think a lot of people would check it out, fashion and non-fashion people alike, because he's developed a following through the celebrities that he styled. And I was listening to an interview with Melissa Rivers with Jeff Lewis, and it's so true. There's a lot of stylists that when you see certain celebrities, you know who styled them. And Law's style, it just transcends like, how fashion has themes or like trends come in and out. Law Roach's stuff that he has styled, I feel like is timeless. And I just feel like we're
Yes.
going to look back in 5, 10 years, 20 years at some of these pictures, and he's going to be more like recognized for what he did in the industry.
Well, do you remember this?
See, iconic. Like that was so, and the fact that he was like the fairy godmother character.
I
And
know, there he is in the back. Amazing.
it was theater on the red carpet. And that to me is like fashion spectacle. And at the Met Gala, that's the place to do it.
He
Oh, it was
made
perfection. It was like exactly like no detail was missed.
Oh,
he made Cinderella sexy, chic, classy, all that. I mean, made her modern with her like this sort of sheen that she's incredible. And look at this. This is another one of my favorites.
mine too.
Timeless.
I find it so funny that time after time, I feel like the Vanity Fair party, that red carpet gets so many more like better looks than the actual red carpet itself does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I agree. I
Very
100%
true.
agree. Let me just check out some of the chat stuff. Do you feel like he's really retired? No, he's not. He's retiring from the dirt and the crap that he's going through as a stylist and with all these people that he's working with, but he's not gone. One thing I did pick up though, that, while sort of like prepping for this live where I wanted to just find some photos in his chart and just upload stuff, I got two things. One of the most important reasons that he's not going to come out and say it, of him sort of taking a break right now, is he's going through some kind of health issue. Okay. I'm not going to disclose what because I've been shown, but since he hasn't come out and said it, I'm just going to say that he is sort of taking care of himself as well, and he's definitely not retiring. He's gonna, guys, he's gonna just skyrocket after this. This was very smart and intuitive of him. What's his reputation in the fashion industry, Storm?
I've always felt like he has a really great one from outside people, and like, of course, you're looking up at him, so to speak. But, and I mean, I think that's why it was such a shock for a lot of people because
Mm-hmm.
and have made such an impact on people. I don't think there would be this much of a reaction. And I mean, you've had people like Naomi Edward from British Vogue. They're commenting on it and telling them you've always got a job with us, a spot with us. So definitely not the end at all.
And
Listen,
even when no, I was
No,
going to
go
say,
ahead.
even when his, quote, diva behavior that people like to say comes out, as I'm listening to this interview, I'm like, and he's allowed to because everything he's had to claw to get to the top, he didn't have anyone helping him. He did this all on his own from like, thrifting out of his trunk to then opening a thrift store. Like nobody helped him. And so like people always wanted to push back and be like, you're not worth this much money. And he's like, yes, I am. And here I'm going to show you why. And so it's like, you're allowed to have quote diva behavior when you've done all that.
I don't think
And
that's
it's
diva
so
behavior.
funny.
That's just like I belong here and I should be paid for that experience and service really that you're bringing to the
Totally.
table.
But people see it in this negative way. Exactly.
Mhm.
Like a glam
What's so
squad.
funny is the fact that so many people have had such worse behavior that we're calling out Law Roach's diva behavior, but in the grand scheme of things, was it really diva behavior? Is really the thing that I think
I
needs
don't
to be looked
I
at.
don't think so at all. Yeah, I think
don't
it
either.
was.
I
Guys,
didn't
let me remind you, Sandoval has diva behavior. Does he friggin' deserve that?
I mean, honestly, that's the bigger diva in all of this.
Yes.
Him and Jax, yeah. Just
And
saying.
James Kennedy.
And
Oh God.
all of them, all of the males, the male characters, the male cast of BPR, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think it's again, we're seeing so many changes. There's so many changes coming. We see it in the fashion industry. I mean, we saw it with the Balenciaga whole saga and situation, right? It started a lot of
Mhm.
the fashion industry, in my opinion, is starting to unraveling ever since the Balenciaga scandal sort of broke out, right?
Oh,
And
for
then
sure.
you see that now. Like you see how I'm not going to say people are tippy-toeing, but I am going to say that people are more, I mean, when I mean people, I mean the designers or the stylists or the big fashion brands. They're more careful, I would say, as to their campaigns and their designs because
100.
people are so much more aware right now.
Oh,
People are
yeah. I
waiting.
bet all the other labels were like, no, we're going to make sure that we don't put anything out unless 30,000 people see it and sign off on every possible thing that could offend someone.
Oh, you have to. You
But
have
that's what was going on for that campaign too, if we're going to be honest. It's
Yeah.
not like
exactly. And the fact that
this
so
wasn't
many
a like
people
oopsie
saw it
doops.
first.
Whoop, how did this get in the picture?
Exactly.
No, it's just now they were like, well, now we know what we can't get away with, so tighten up, guys.
Yeah.
But I would love for them to see, I would love to see a Grammys or an Oscars or BAFTAs or anything like that, where they just say, this year, we're just going to shine the light on the new designers, on the unknown designers, and bring Storm, please. We need a Storm that. I'm just saying that now, and we're going to start seeing this, guys. We are going to start seeing things changing. It's not going to be them and us anymore. It's going to be, we've got the power because we're the consumer at the end of the day, regardless whether we consume TV, whether we buy clothes, whether we buy whatever it is. We're the ones with the power, and we're starting to realize that now. So we're starting to say, hey, you know what? I don't like this, or I don't agree with this, or let's bring in people who are just new at this, or they just need a break, a big break, and we're going to be seeing a lot more newcomers coming in. And I do also hope that the fashion industry sort of changes direction, because it's going towards the storm. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it's got nudity is a big thing this year. Like the less
the sheer dresses are so big right now. So it's like this whole body confidence, like body positivity. If you've got it, flaunt it. So own it. So I feel like you've seen a ton of sheer, but then also like I was looking at a article this morning, and a lot of trends from like, what was it? Feathers were huge. Sexy lace outfits going along with that sheer statement. Hourglass tailoring, even in the jackets and in the coats, they were cinched. So it's like really showing off the silhouette.
I know. Kiki, what was your favorite? What would you say your favorite outfits of the let's talk about the Oscars now a little bit. What was your favorite outfit, you would say?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. I remember like Mindy Kaling really stood out to me. I remember, I mean, obviously Stratus Cloud, Thames, even though, sitting in the audience, it wasn't, but it was beautiful on the runway.
Beautiful.
I mean, on the red carpet, even though the red carpet wasn't red and people were getting washed out because there was a lot of whites.
Yes.
Who else stood out for me? God, there were so many people that stood out, and obviously Meg Thee Stallion at the Vanity Fair party, just because like it was the first time we were seeing her since the trial. There were some really good looks. I mean, look, even Donald Glover. I don't even know if that was like at the Oscars or at the Vanity Fair, but I'm just like, this is interesting. I'm into this.
Angela Bassett was really good looking. Like she looked amazing. She's the woman, she's so feminine. She exudes like this old Hollywood a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, she's like timeless. Like she has not. I mean, you could put her right back in What's Love Got to Do with It, and she could do it all over again and kill it. You know what I mean?
And Jessica Chastain looked like Jessica Rabbit. I was just like, that is like,
Yes.
I loved that.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah, that was great.
But she is a Jessica Rabbit. Like if you do a remake, Jessica Chastain should be Jessica. She looks like I really think like she channels Jessica Rabbit.
Totally.
Like, absolutely. I don't know. Storm, is there anything else before I let you go? Thank you so much for popping in, by the way.
Oh, of course. I was in the studio, so I was like, let me hop on the laptop super quick. But
and we can see some of your gowns in the back, or some of your designs in the background.
Working on things. I've got like a ton of patterns everywhere that we've been making and cutting up and trying to get things going. So always fun and exciting.
You're busy. Right, Storm, thanks so much for joining us. We'll bring you back up some other time, because everyone loves to hear what you've got to say, your take on things through the eyes of a fashion designer and someone who's worked with housewives.
Oh yeah, the characters, to say the least.
He's got stories.
But you guys have a great one, and I'll be
bye, you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Right. Chat, do you want to ask us or Kiki anything specific or anything? Kiki, what are you working on right now? Is there anything that you want to, feel free to plug.
I've mostly just been like, like pushing out a lot of content on, the Talk of Shame. I'm doing some stuff with Showtime with Yellow Jackets that premieres this week. So I'm doing some red carpet work this week. So that should be fun. Working on like some true crime stuff with ID and Discovery. So some more stuff will be coming out. And then, I have just like other projects like you called out. I'm doing some writing. So just hoping that stuff, I have positive, vibes that this will take off this year. So we'll see.
That's exciting. And I wanted to say something to touch upon, because you're both, all three of us are I don't see myself as a creative, because I'm a psychic medium and that is my job. That's my full-time job. And I just happen to do YouTube and TikToks and whatnot. But you guys are full-time creators. And we were discussing this a little bit with Georgio, that, it's sometimes, and you guys were talking about this before, sometimes it can take its toll on you, right? Like, where you're like, what direction am I going? How do you handle like, how do you manage your time? How do you handle content creating? Because you're sort of like you do so much. So you're here, there, you're writing, you have a podcast, a YouTube channel. There's a lot. How do you manage all that?
It's hard because I'm also doing stuff that's very timely. So you can't like pre-plan a lot of it. Like, one day something blows up and then you've spent your entire day reporting on it. And then you're just like, I haven't even brushed my teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it's nice. I do like to save the weekends if nothing crazy is happening, and usually it doesn't. Usually stuff blows up on a Friday, right? Because when stuff is
it goes on
especially
a Friday.
Yeah. So it's like I like to have the weekends to just share more about myself so people can kind of get to know me, and just like, show them I'm trying to do, whatever self-care I can in those moments. But for the most part, it's just like I just like reading, consuming as much information as possible, and figuring out like the best way to distill it to people, because that's the thing too, is like people want to know is a lot of things, but they just don't have the time. And how can you get this information to them as succinctly as possible in 60 seconds or 90 seconds or less? And so to me, I just find that like such a fun challenge every day.
Mm-hmm.
And your TikTok changed a lot, Kiki. I remember when I first came across you on TikTok, it was like, I don't know, over a year ago, no, like a year ago. I don't remember. And it changed a lot. And I love I loved it before, but I just love the direction, because you're touching upon all these different topics now and different news. And it's the way you deliver, which is so, to me, it's captivating. It's just because you and Georgia have a similar style, meaning that you've got a very good way of like captivating the viewer about what you're talking, whether they know about what you're talking, whether it's Scandoval, whether it is like the banks collapsing. I'm just giving you an example, or true crime situation. Georgia doesn't talk about true crime, but whatever it may be. But it's just the way, and I'm like always in awe, because I'm so forgetful. I'm always mess up dates. I always mess up stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how they do it.
I know. I think like one of the things, and this is actually something I was thinking about this weekend, and I want to maybe work on it this week, is reminding people what the definition of pop culture is. Because I think people keep, because I did start out as a quote Bravo account, and I was like, but that's not really all I do. It is what I talk about a lot, because Bravo is a huge part of pop culture. But when I'm talking about, Donald Trump, and people get very angry even if I just say the name, but I'm like, if you don't think Donald Trump is a part of pop culture, you are fooling yourself. He is our first pop culture president. Like, it is a big part of it. So it's like, I want people to remember like popular culture, what it means. Like, we're going to talk about anything that is affecting our lives, whether it feels meaningless to you or not. And I just want to redefine news in that way. And it's like, I'm not going to be, I'm not a political person. I'm not like a super activist person, but I do want people to be aware of things that are happening. Just like, I'm learning things every morning too. I'm like, wait, what's happening in Florida? I think we need to be aware.
So
totally agree.
So Iconic wants to know, what would be the genre that you are more interested in?
I feel like, honestly, I don't even, and that's why, again, I think I need to define this new genre of like pop culture news. I call myself like a social media journalist, because again, it's like I want to share, I call myself the news you need and the news you're nosy about, because I think that you need both to like, kind of live your life. You can't always live in doom and gloom, but you also can't always live in like a bubble of Scandoval, because you're missing a lot of stuff. So I think, if we still had offices, like if you could stand around the water cooler and have a conversation with, your new coworkers, what are 10 topics that you could have at the tip of your tongue and talk about? And that's what I like to let people get information about.
Interesting. Night Mission, can you pick up on what Zendaya feels about law? And Issa's question, will Kardashian go? Oh, thank you for putting all the questions in one. Thank you. That helps. Okay, first of all, Zendaya respects him. So it's just, I feel that she trusts him. They work together. I feel a good situation there. Maybe she's keeping quiet right now, but she has to do what she has to do and what her PR team tells her to do, right? Regarding Kardashians, I've been saying this since last year, and I said they won't be canceled per se, but Kardashians will no longer be on that pedestal, in quotes, that they used to be, that it's all crashing down, and that they will have to figure out how to rebrand, sort of resell themselves. I do feel that some of those products, like whether it's like Skims or it's beauty lines or whatever, I do think some of them will drop them. Okay, because I have a feeling Kylie is not making and even Kim is in a bit of hot water when it comes to some of her businesses. Just telling you what I'm feeling. So yes, and we saw it this year. I mean, they weren't there. So the Kardashians, and we're going to see that it's time. It's time for that Kardashian bubble to burst.
Well, I think too, I mean, with everything, like the way I always found it interesting that Kim initially was connected through Paris. Paris at the time was like the Kim Kardashian in the era, minus the whole entire family. But her family was pretty famous as well, specifically when she went to jail. And then when she came out, it was much more of a thing. But it's interesting to see the dynamic shift back because we see a lot more Paris.
Yes.
And lots of things that she's doing. I mean, we know that I know she signed a big deal with NBC Universal, so it does make sense that she's popping up on a lot of things. And now with the memoir, which I'm excited to finish reading, but no, it's just interesting time in pop culture because now it seems like it's going back the other way around, and maybe the Kardashians are going to take a little bit of a break, and maybe the Hiltons are up next. So.
We'll see. What are your thoughts about Kathy Hilton not knowing that Paris was expecting a baby?
I mean, I think there are so many dynamics in that family that they just don't talk about. Because, I mean, when she did her documentary, you know, like that was very revealing about her upbringing. And it was like, as quirky as Kathy is, and like we love her, I think there is a lot of heaviness there, and it doesn't necessarily surprise me because I do think that Paris has had to really, everything in her life has been what keeps the Hilton name alive. And I do think that she was like, this is the one thing that I get to keep for myself, and I'm not going to let you have that. And you're kind of like, good on you.
Well, and I think too, because of the fact that when you read like House of Hilton, and it's interesting reading her view of Big Kathy, because you know there's a lot of that stuff that's connected from House of Hilton when you start reading and seeing some of the behavior, and then you remember that Kathy was raised by that woman. I mean, obviously Kim and Kyle were as well, but I think Kathy's outlook was at the time, because there's been rumblings too that when the girls would go out in New York, Nicole in Paris allegedly, that Kathy would call up the paparazzi and be like, you know, so that was their ticket in initially. It was like these socialite girls that were rich. They didn't need, you know, but it was good for the brand.
Yeah.
It was talked about. I mean, everyone remembers Kathy Hilton even had a reality show. How to Be a Hilton or something like that, where it was like you can watch it on YouTube, I believe.
Oh yeah,
it's on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. Check it out. It's wild.
Was
to watch
Rick
it
in
back
it
now? Huh?
Was Rick in it as well?
I don't think he was in it because he's not very fond of being.
Yeah, he's camera shy. So
yeah, except when he's talking about Kyle Richards pissing him off at the airport. That was great. That was just. He was confirming she quit the show before she even decided. He was like, oh, yeah, no, she told us she's quitting. She's done.
Speaking of, and before we go, what are your predictions, Kiki, for the next Beverly Hills season?
I'll be honest. I think it's going to flop. It's going to flop because, A, all of those pictures online already look way too kumbaya. Like, I'm like, you're being way too friendly for me. And I just think it's going to be, and Rinna's going to think it has all to do with her. And it's going to have nothing to do with her, but she's going to just be so excited that it's failing. And yeah, I think it's going to be a flop. And I love that show. It's my favorite.
Either that, the other thing I was thinking, the theory behind it was that they all, because of last season, a lot of it leaking before and how it all was chaotic. I think a lot of people are also speculating whether or not they're pretending with the photos to throw off anybody doing. But then it's like, it's still kind of early in the season. But I did see that Denise was at Garcelle's premiere, but she was not, didn't seem to care how she looked. I don't know if she filmed. I'm like, gosh, Denise, why do you do this? Like, literally her Instagram feed is like a blowout model, like wind blowing. She's coming out of the ocean all the time. Then she shows up at this thing and she's like wearing a Gap hoodie jacket with like a bun and just like whatever. I mean, I love that about her, but it's just like, so does that mean you didn't want to film? Is that why you like purposefully dress like that?
She's giving Aqua vibes, Georgio. I mean, you know, Aquarians,
Totally.
you know, if we don't give it toss, we just won't put any effort in it. It's just full stop. She is genuine. She is who she is. At least she is true to herself and true to who she is. So at least we respect that. Right, everyone. So this was a great show. And Kiki, thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but maybe you are willing to come back at some point again and chat with us about,
of course,
not Scandoval, something
Yeah.
else.
Or maybe depending on when the timeline is with this
Exactly.
whole season, so.
Oh yeah, good point. And definitely the true crime stuff. I would really love to talk to you about that because that would be really interesting. Combining your knowledge on true crime and sort of like my abilities to, because I recently did a video on the disappearance of Maddie McCain.
Oh wow.
Madeline McCann.
Yeah.
And that was really heavy. I start crying, obviously, when I'm channeling.
Wow.
It's really, but yeah, it's it will shock people what came through.
Okay.
From Madeline herself. So if you guys want to, you haven't watched it already, just go ahead and watch the video. Trust me, it can be a little bit confusing when I'm channeling because I'm kind of like jumping all over the place. It's because I'm channeling Madeline. I'm getting different stuff. So I'm trying to piece everything together. But trust me, it is definitely worth watching this video because it's very telling as to what happened. Everything. Okay. So have you done a video? Have you researched or have you done anything on Madeline McCann?
I haven't. I just started following, the woman who says she believes she's Madeline, but I know she was DNA tests were supposedly happening, but I haven't really kept up too much.
Guess what? Little T. Okay, so she said she submitted her DNA for DNA testing, but I read somewhere or I heard somewhere because she works with this medium, this Persian medium or whatever it is,
yes.
right? So I saw on TikTok, and I don't know if it was a slip of the tongue, but it was. I have a feeling it wasn't a DNA test; it was an ancestry test. Because she said we will know if she's got British roots, and I'm like, DNA test does not tell you you've got British roots. Ancestry test tells you you've got British roots.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's I think she is a missing girl, like one of the other missing girls, but not Madeline. Do you think?
Oh wow.
She's definitely not Madeline because spoiler alert, but I'm gonna say it. She's no longer with us, Madeline. So yeah. But I do think that maybe it will come out. I think she's more that German girl. She looks a lot like that missing German girl. But anyways, it's really interesting. But you've covered it a lot, right?
I haven't really covered her story. That's I've just been sort of like following just only personally. I've been doing a lot of the murder trial and that stuff lately. But yeah.
Yeah, I've got to do that one because everyone's like, do one on the murder.
Well, yeah, because now they're exhuming the body of Stephen Smith. So I'm very curious because that'll be a private, autopsy, independent coroner or autopsy person. Yeah.
Maybe we can do that one together since you
Okay.
have all that. And I haven't followed the case. I have to come out and say it, but that's better. I'd rather not know a lot about a case or too much, because then, you know, everything that comes through is not filtered through my bias or my opinion, right? And really quickly, will you do one on Natalie Holloway? Definitely will do. This is a very interesting case in Aruba, what happened. Yes, I will do a reading. I'll try to channel her too, because we all know that she's no longer with us. But that would be that's a good case too. And Issa is dying for me to do the stairway one. What's the guy called? The writer who everyone suspects that he killed his wife. He pushed her down the stairs. You know which one I'm talking about?
I know I know exactly the story. I don't know a lot about it because I didn't watch the series, but yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that people want to. Because yes, I'm getting bad vibes from him too. So that'll be interesting. So there's just a lot. There's a lot of that. But Kiki will be in touch anyways. And thank you so much. I appreciate you coming today and taking the time on a Sunday to be here. I know you're super busy, and today should be all about wellness. You know, me, wellness, pampering, having a cocktail, just chilling.
Yes.
But I appreciate that very much. And thank you for being with us.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kiki. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye. Okay, everyone. Oh, Georgio was fast. I didn't have time to say goodbye, but I'm all on my own now. But everyone, before I go, I want to just remind you to like this video. And please do comment down below. What would you like us to talk about next Sunday? We Kiki will be back on next Friday. We had to skip this Friday because Jason, there was a clash in his schedule. He couldn't make it. The time change has messed everyone up. But we will be back to doing We Kikis on Fridays. So next Friday, but do check the community tab because I do make my announcements there. And don't forget to like this video and do subscribe if you're new here. And thank you all. Love you all. Bye, everyone.